Hello, hello, hey guys, what's up dudes, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm Kat, I'm a deep space artist. I'm currently drawing the 2006 Chile Eclipse, originally shot by Dr. Sebastian Voltimers, who is insanely talented. He's a doctor of scientific photography, which is freaking cool as heck, man. His work, I feel like he should have. His work is so good. He deserves so much of a bigger following, and you know, I feel very honored to be able to draw this. It was a challenge. It's actually my sixth digital drawing. I'm very new to like digital artwork. I was using a Wacom HD 13 Cintiq tablet. And I actually really love it. It took a while to calibrate, but once I got the pressure sensitivity, it was like awesome. I picked it up secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, so you know, at the time I didn't have a great deal of fun. So I think that's awesome that you can just get this kind of stuff. It's actually readily available. So yeah, I'm just drawing in lots of details. You can notice I'm using grids. I'm an avid user, and I think grids are the best. Look, here's the thing. When you're drawing a face, you could probably go without a grid because, you know, the faces are generally proportioned, you know, or like portraiture or that kind of things, or like if it's a still life, like you kind of understand like the general proportions of things like a banana or an orange or whatever it is. But when it comes to space in particular, everything's just like weird blobs. And it's a strange thing when you come to draw them because it's like, if you do it out of proportion, everybody can tell because we've spent so much time looking at those images, you know, especially the Hubble images. So yeah, use grids, man, for sure. And I'm drawing in like a mid color. You can see I paste down mid color really quickly, and then I like rough in some like rough details, and you know, and then add in little hot patches of highlights or patches of lowlights above or below it. Yeah. So, and I think in a bit I make some brushes, or maybe I already made some brushes. Having the right brush sets is really helpful. I think one of the brush sets I really love is the Real Ink. They do a cosmic brush pack if you're interested. They also do it for Procreate as well as Photoshop. Actually, what's really cool about capturing a whole desktop like this is the fact that you can see the timestamp. Like my clock is visible, so you can see the time. Here, I'm making some brushes. Here, I wouldn't say I'm a particular expert, but you know, you can create your own little brushes, and they're like little pattern stamp things that you know you can use. That's super handy. Yeah. Sebastian Voltimers is a really cool dude, but also like I just found out that he makes or used to at least make music, electronic music, like trance. I would say like it's like kind of like it's like that 2004 Ibiza style, but sort of more like experimental. I would say almost bordering on psychedelic, but not quite. Yeah, it's so amazing. I feel like he would do really well with Professor Brian Cox. Professor Brian Cox used to be in a band and used to do a lot of synth stuff. So yeah, anyway, a lot of people ask me, I get the same questions quite frequently. So I figured I would talk about those while we are here and just chit-chatting. So a lot of people ask how long I've been drawing for. So I have been drawing for 4.5 years, which has been an interesting journey because I have spent the majority of my life avoiding being an artist. I come from a very artistic family. Like my sister is I think she's like the head of an art department at an incredibly prestigious school, grammar school in Kent in the UK. Amazing. She's so talented. And my brother is an incredibly talented 3D artist. And now like that art wasn't enough for me. He had to learn how to code his own shaders and rendering tech, and he loves special effects. So he's super talented as well, and I kind of didn't want to be an artist because I thought, like, you know, I thought artists were failures. I mean, we were all told that whole thing about, you know, get a real job and all that stuff. So yeah, I ended up doing engineering. I did mechanical engineering at university. Here, by the way, I'm adding some texture over the top of the flares because they were just looking a little bit too pristine, a bit too smooth. So I wanted to add in some texture that it gives it more that real sense of what's going on. Yeah, and what I'm doing, you can't really see because I'm flicking between it so quick, but I use two different types of brushes. I use like a standard brush, and then I use a blending brush. So I will paint down, the first layer of rough, things, and then I'll take the blending brush and I will actually like blend it out to create these nice swirls. I do that for real life. Actually, this is kind of cool. So this is the Crab Nebula that's behind me, and it's actually in the time-lapse drawing, but it's not finished. So it's like a before and after. That's kind of cool. I avoided being an artist, and I ended up 10 years in the game studio, like working in the game studios. First as I was a junior. I basically rigged characters. I was a character rigger, so you get like bones and you attach mesh to them. Again, this is something I just learned. I learned from my brother because he was into it. I realized recently I've never had a job that I've ever been formally trained for. Was never formally trained for art. I did do it at what's equivalent like high school in the US, or I think it's called college in the UK, but it's not university. It's like 16 years old or something. So I did some art school then, and did some painting then, but not like this. It's amazing what you can learn from YouTube, to be honest. And in particular, like I do oil painting, and I'll be honest, I learned from Bob Ross. Like, that dude is so amazing. Like, he's a serious dude. Hey, like, I've got so much love for him. And yeah, so I was doing games and I got very burnt out at the end. I was working insane hours, occasionally sleeping under my desk so I could fit in a few extra hours. It was probably, it's funny because I remember hearing someone in Silicon Valley like sort of bragging about this, when you have this part of a software development where it's crunch time and you're leading up to a launch and everyone is just way burnt out and just hammering it to get to the end. And I was working 7 days a week for the last couple of months, and by the time I'd finished, I was over it. So over it. So I just had a massive nervous breakdown, and then which I know sounds terrible, but in hindsight was absolutely the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I mean, I joke about this, but I really feel like everyone needs one. It's like a hard reset. There's no way to go back, and I couldn't go back into the industry. I was working, I was away from home. I wasn't working. I had 4-hour commute on top of everything, and I think that was a snapping point. But if you're doing 12, 13 or 14-hour days, and then you have like a 4-hour commute, it is a killer. Oh, so killer. Like, just thinking about it makes me feel nervous. Also, I've got some hair on my face. Yeah, it just makes me feel like, ugh. It's I don't wish that on anyone, to be honest. It's not a way to live, and I couldn't function as a human being, certainly. I couldn't like wash my it was terrible. And so after I finished that, I was like, well, and I'd spent 10 years going from the top to the bottom. So I finished while I was an executive producer / like project lead. And one of the things you might be seeing me do in this drawing, by the way, is that I do spin the canvas around. I'm still getting used to it. This is, as I said, this is only the 6th ever drawing I've ever done in a digital art form, so I'm still kind of learning the ropes for sure. I think shortcuts if you want to do this well, shortcuts are essential. I changed my shortcuts, so B is for brush, and I changed the letter N to be the blending brush. So I would just I'd be like switching between like I almost wish I put a camera on the keyboard just so you can see what I was doing. But yeah, crazy, huh? So where was I? Yeah, so I decided that I wanted to paint because I'd gone to Peru and done, went and did the whole ayahuasca thing, and that was just incredible instantly. It's not for everybody, but certainly probably one of the most life-changing things that's ever happened to me. Ayahuasca, if anyone doesn't know, it's a very, very psychedelic tea that makes you puke your guts up, but it's actually not that bad. But it's intense, and some people have very good experiences and very like heavenly things, and sometimes you have very difficult dark experiences, but always I think part of the beauty of it is it sort of hyper connects your brain, so parts of your brain talk to bits that wouldn't normally talk to it, and it sort of induces somewhat of a synesthesia style, where people, for instance, see colors when they hear sounds. For instance, it crosses a lot of different boundaries, and me and my brother call it epiphany juice. It's just mind-bendingly good, good for dealing with all sorts of interesting trauma and whatever's happened in your life, which you may or may not remember. Like, a lot of stuff happens to us before we are like 5, you just don't remember, and sometimes it can be like minuscule and sometimes it can be big, you just don't know. So yeah, so I went and did that, and I saw another artist there, and I sort of thought, wow, that's really cool. I remember enjoying art as a kid. At this point, I was 28, 29, I think, when this happened. No, 28. Gosh, doing well with maths today. And yeah, I remember thinking, wow, that's so cool. I wish I was an artist. Yeah, so while I was there, I saw this amazing lady do some painting, and I just got, actually, I'll be very honest, I had a very big pang of jealousy, and I realized that I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, unless you stew on it. I just recognized it for what it was, which was that there was something deep within my life that was missing, and it was art. So I watched a TED Talk, which I just recommend everybody go watch it. It's called Draw Your Future by Patty Dabrowski. And yeah, and in that you sort of draw you sort of draw a stick figure of where you feel you are, like what your life is like right now, and then where you would like it to be, and your brain just connects it. So at this point, I was sort of working kind of part-time for this games company. I'd thrown the towel in because they'd said that they wanted to move on to... We'd finished the PC Steam edition. It was a Warhammer 40k game. A great game. Won a ton of awards, and I love it. But I could not go on to do the mobile development. I was burnt to a crisp. And I actually felt like my life didn't have any purpose at that point. It was weird. Yeah, I think that's I say it's all the time, but it's like you get the itch, like there's something more important that's destined for your life, but you just don't know what it is, So I got the itch, and I'd also on the side had started a business cleaning. I didn't know what to do with my life. I couldn't go back into software development. I knew that I was only doing a few months with this company to get, just to help pass the project on. So I was cleaning people's toilets. I was a cleaner for a little bit. And, at the end of the day, you just do what you've got to do to survive. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a particularly profitable job. And it didn't really work out. It certainly wasn't my life's ambition. But on the side, I was painting. I was doing a few bits and bobs I would spend a couple hours every weekend for about 8 months, and then that led me to host my first Kickstarter. And I've got to be honest, Kickstarter has absolutely changed my life in such an amazing way. And after a few months, my friends were like, "Hey, you should totally have an exhibition," because I'd been posting this stuff on my Facebook, and they're like, there's been great responses. I was like, yeah, man, like I'm gonna get a room full of space and get everybody drunk. And we're gonna just get drunk and talk about space. I was like, that sounds insanely good. Let's do that. So yeah, so then hatched a plan to raise $4,000 to hire a room in Sydney, but we didn't raise 4,000. It just kept on ticking up and up and up. We ended up, I think, like I had no contingency for making more than $4,000, and it was going up 10, 20, 30, 40. Ended up at $70,000, and I remember having this moment where I just sat, I was burst into tears. I don't know if I was on a live stream, but I just remembered like crying because I had realized that the last previous year when I left the games industry, I'd spent 10 years building my career. I could never go back because I couldn't deal with the stress, and any job below that I would be overqualified for. And I remember thinking, like, I've just wasted so much of my life. What am I going to do with myself? I don't have any skills outside of games. And I remember just having this moment where I was like, fuck, this is my job now. Holy shit. this is insane. So, and lo and behold, 4.5 years later, this is what I'm doing full time. I host Kickstarter projects. I sell prints. I don't do it very often. I've got, I think, one coming up in September. So there is a waiting list. Where I send like a little heads up. I'll put the link in the description or whatever, but you know, like there's no pressure or anything. I'm just super keen on all this stuff, and of course everything I do glows in the dark because I'm obsessed. And maybe this print will be in there too, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, that's sort of how I started as an artist, and how I quit my job and ended up doing all this. And yeah, it's been a wild ride actually, but I'm very grateful. Here we're just getting to the final adjustment layers, and yeah, I love the way that this is looking. Just the warmth of the sunshine and how it's blooming, and I'm just sort of fixing up the crop, making the crop looking better, and yeah, final image. Oh look, I look so serious, man. If you'd have asked me a few years ago if I was capable, I would have told you hell no. But here we are, you know, and I am exceptionally grateful for yeah, just the support of everyone. I had no expectation. I think that the person that is most surprised about any of this in my life and how it all turned out is me, because I would tell you I would absolutely never think that this is where I would end up. So, you know, I just don't appreciate everyone's support. I'm gonna gush and cry for everyone, but yeah, it means so much to me. Just to think like how stressed I was before in my life and how I hated my life, and you know, and I know that not everyone can make the jump, and if you do so, guys, be sensible. Like, go and get backing. And you know, I was lucky that I had enough savings and stuff, but yeah, make sure you look after yourself, guys. Hooray! Yeah, I did it. So there you go. That is the final image. I'm insanely proud of this, I'll be honest. I didn't think I was capable. So I'm going to release a few more of these, and yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed Storytime with Kat. I am on Instagram at CatMachin. I'm on Facebook at CatMachin. I'm on Twitter at CatMachin. Can't get at CatMachin for YouTube, I don't think. So, boo, YouTube. Yes. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I just appreciate you so much, and like, I hope you enjoyed the time lapse and stuff. I definitely enjoyed babbling onto you. So anyway, catch you later. Bye.